Hello guys, welcome back to another video of the Application Load Balancer series. In this video, we will talk about the Application Load Balancer listener rules and I will show you exactly how to set up each rule one by one. But before that guys, let me quickly cover what we did in the last video. So in the last video guys, I showed you how you can install an SSL certificate on the Application Load Balancer to make your website work with the HTTPS protocol. So here you can see guys, when I open my website muhyiddin.com, it says connection is secure. So this is what we achieved in the last video guys. So now before we talk about the listener rules guys, let me quickly explain to you what is a listener with a real life example. So let's say guys, I Muhyiddin can understand two languages, English and Chinese. And someone comes to me and says, how are you Mr. Muhyiddin, in either English and Chinese, then I can respond to him guys. Why? Because I understand both of these languages. But what guys, if someone says to me the same thing in Japanese, would I be able to respond? No. Why? Because I do not understand Japanese at all. So similar is the case with our application load balancer guys. Our application load balancer can only respond to two types of requests. One is the HTTP and other with the HTTPS. So we cannot respond to HTTP or any other type of protocol requests. Okay guys, so now let me take you to the AWS console and show you the rules. So here is my load balancer guys. Let me click on this application load balancer. So here you can see guys, my application load balancer is right now listening on the HTTPS and HTTP protocol. And right now, both of these protocols forward the traffic to the demo group, which is our target group guys. Okay, so I will show you how to set up the rules on the HTTPS protocol guys. And for the HTTP protocol, we will have only one rule. And what that rule will do is this guys, that rule will redirect all the traffic from HTTP to HTTPS and nothing else guys. Okay, so let's start with the HTTPS listener rules and I will show you how to perform the redirect from HTTP to HTTPS later guys. So I have already selected the HTTPS by clicking here. Now go to actions, manage rules, and here you can see guys, the default rule is to route the request to the demo group, which is our target group. Okay, so now let me show you the other rules. Let's click here, go to insert rule, and here you can see guys, there are three columns: rule ID, if all match, which is the condition, and then which means the action to perform if the condition matches guys. So let's talk about with our first condition, which is host header. So to understand that condition better guys, first of all let me tell you what is a HTTP header. So here an HTTP header is a field of an HTTP request or response that passes additional context and metadata about the request or response. There are two types of HTTP headers, request header and response header. So guys, basically in the simple terms, let me show you what does that mean is that whenever you open any website on your browser, and for example I open muhyiddin.com, let me just open muhyiddin.com. So what happens behind the scenes is this guys, that my browser sends the request to my server where my domain muhyiddin.com is hosted, and along with the request it passes some additional information which we can view by clicking here guys. So here you can see guys, that additional information is passed in the form of request headers, and these are the headers passed guys: authority, method, path, and you can see there are a bunch of them guys. Okay, so these are basically the HTTP headers. Now let's talk about what is the HTTP host header guys. So basically the HTTP host header is a request header that specifies the domain that a client, or you can say browser, wants to access. This header is necessary because it is pretty standard for servers to host websites and applications at the same IP address. So you know guys that it is a pretty common practice to host multiple websites on the same server, and the server has only one IP address. So how can our browser know which website we are trying to access on the server? So this is because of the host header guys. And as guys, our website is working with the HTTPS protocol, so whenever we access any website over the HTTPS protocol, the host header is known as authority header here guys. Okay, so you won't find the field host here. Here that field is called authority and it contains our domain name mohyuddin.com. And if I open my website with the HTTP protocol, guys, so now let me open mohyuddin.com with the HTTP protocol, guys. So here, guys, you can see in the request headers that if the website is accessed with the HTTP protocol, then you have the field host here, guys. Okay, so basically both of these fields are same. They contain our domain name, but just there is a difference of the name. Here on the HTTP it is called host, and here on the HTTPS it is called authority. Okay, guys, so I hope you guys now understand what is the host header. And now here comes the real question, why we use that? We use that rule when we want to our application load balancer to serve our subdomain. So let's say I have a subdomain demo.mohyuddin.com pointing to my same application load balancer. So I can say that if our application load balancer receives a request from demo.mohyuddin.com, then we can have three options here, guys. Forward to, so basically if you have already a target group created for your subdomain, then you can select that. I do not have any target group here, guys, so I won't select that. The other option is redirect. We can say if someone types demo.mohyuddin.com, then please redirect that request to the, let's say, mohyuddin.com on any other domain we want. Okay, guys, so we do not want that here, guys, so I will not do that. And the third option we have, guys, is the return fixed response. So that's what I will do here, guys, that if someone types demo.mohyuddin.com, please return hello world. And by the way, guys, most important thing is that your subdomain demo.mohyuddin.com must first point to your application load balancer. And if I show you my domain DNS records, guys, so here you can see my subdomain demo.mohyuddin.com. Its A record is pointing to already pointing to my application load balancer. Okay, guys, so this is something you should remember. So now let me just click on here. Let's click save. Okay, guys, the rule has been successfully created. So now let me just close that incognito tab. So now let me just open my website demo.mohyuddin.com. So here you can see, guys, it says hello world. So now I think you guys understand this host header. Okay, guys, so now let's set up another rule. So let's click on insert rule, and another rule we have is this, guys, path. This is very simple, guys. So this rule is useful when you have either multiple websites on the same domain path. So for example, if you have a different WordPress website or any type of website on mohyuddin.com slash, let's say, WordPress, and then you have a website on mohyuddin.com slash WordPress 1, then for this purpose, guys, you will use the path based routing. So path based rule, this is this, guys, that for example someone types mohyuddin.com slash img, then what should you do? So I say if someone types this, then you should return him a fixed response. Okay, and fixed response is you typed img. And we can have another condition as well. Let's say if someone types slash img, or you can say, I say if someone types WordPress even. So if someone types either of them, okay, guys, either img, WordPress, you should return the fixed response. Click on save. So the rule has been created, guys. So now if I just go to the incognito tab, type mohyuddin.com slash img, you see, guys, it says you typed img. And what happens when I type mohyuddin.com slash, what would we set up here? WordPress. Okay. So you see, guys, we got the same response. You typed img. So now let's talk about the other rule, guys. And before I create another rule, guys, let me just tell you very important thing, guys, that rules are always evaluated in the order from the lowest to the highest. What that means is that first of all, this one rule will be evaluated, then the second rule, and in the last the default rule will be evaluated, guys. Okay, so this is very important, guys, when you set up rules. So now let's talk about the other rule, guys, which is HTTP header. So again, guys, very simple. So earlier, as I showed you the headers, let me just again show you these HTTP headers, and go to network muhyiddin.com, and here we have these request headers. So we use this rule, guys. Let me just open the website with the HTTPS version. Okay, guys, so here you can see, guys, with the HTTPS versions we have a lot more headers than we have in the HTTP version. So here you can see, guys, we have different type of headers: authority, method, path, scheme. And in that rule we can set up that if someone sends a request to our server and that request contains, for example, this header accept encoding, then what should you do? So here I would say, if the request contains this header, the basically talking about the request header, guys. Okay, this request header contains accept encoding. So if the request contains this header accept encoding, yeah, let me just copy paste this one to avoid any type of mistake. Accept encoding, then what should you do, guys? And the value of this header is, let's say I would put a wildcard. What that mean is, guys, that the value could be anything, guys. Okay, let's click on create, add action. Again, guys, as you know, I do not have any target group for that, and I do not want to redirect the user. I only want to return a fixed response, and here we can select the code as well, guys. And if you do not know about these response codes, guys, you can watch my previous videos in the same playlist to know about that, guys. Okay, and let's type here HTTP header. Okay, guys, now let's click on save. So here, guys, now when I will open the same website muhyiddin.com, guys, so by default when the browser will send the request to the server, it will definitely contain this header accept encoding. So this time you will see that my server will not return the data on the existed on the server. Instead we will see a fixed response. So let me just refresh that, guys. You see, guys, this time we got the fixed response HTTP header. So this is about this rule, guys. Now let's set up another rule. Click on condition HTTP request method. So guys, that there are two types of HTTP request methods. One is get and the other is post. And here you can even see, guys, that whenever we open any website on our browser, by default the request method is get, and the post method is the most common example of the post method is, guys, when you fill a contact form on any website. Whenever you click the submit button on the contact form, your browser sends a post request to the server, which means that you are sending some data to the server. And in the get request, we are not sending any data to the server. We basically want to fetch some data from the server, which is obviously the website files, guys. Okay, so I won't be able to really show you a demo of that, guys, but let's just say that by default we send a get request, guys. Let me just click here get. So I say that if someone says sends the get request to muhyiddin.com, then you should return a fixed response, and that fixed response would be you sent me a get request. Okay, guys, let's click on save, and let's save our rule. And now let's see, guys, what happens when I open my website muhyiddin.com. Let me just refresh it a couple of times for the rule to take place. So here you can see, guys, now what does my server says? You sent me a get request. I hope, guys, now you understand this get request. And now let's talk about the setup the other rule. So the other rule we have is this, guys, query string. So this rule is helpful, guys, when you have an API hosted on your AWS servers. So this rule is helpful then. So let me show you the format of that rule is, guys, that Let's say if someone types muhayyuddin.com/users question mark ID is equal to 10. So this is the basically query string. Anything that comes after this question mark is the query string, guys. So we say that if someone types query string and we have only one string, that is ID, and the value is 10. So I specify here if someone types a query string, then key would be ID and the value should be 10, then you should return him a fixed response. This is a query string. Okay guys, let's click on save. Okay, perfect. So now guys, when I will type this, let me just again open the incognito tab. You see guys, what does it say? This is a query string. Okay guys, so now let's talk about our last tool, which is the source IP. So this is very simple guys. So this basically states this, that if someone accesses our EC2 server from a specific IP address, then what should we do? Or you can say a list of IP addresses. So let's say if someone accesses, let me just see what is my IP address. So what is my IP? So this is my IP guys. Okay, so let's say if someone accesses my server from this IP, and let me put a range here. So to help you understand that better guys, you must first know what is a CIDR block in IP. So in short, this is basically a list of IP addresses. Okay guys, let me click on save, add action, and I should say you must return me a fixed response. And hello Muhayyuddin. Click on save guys. Okay, perfect. So now guys, if I open muhayyuddin.com, let's just wait for some time guys. You say guys, what does it says? Hello Muhayyuddin. Why? Because I am accessing this website. But if someone from a different IP address range will access this website, this rule will not be evaluated guys, and instead you will see this rule evaluated, the get request. And I do not have any proxy right now, so I can't exactly show you that, but that's what actually happens in the backend guys. So I hope guys now you understand about all these rules, and I have explained you all these options guys: forward, redirect, return, and this option guys, authenticate. This is not basically useful for you now guys, because for that option you must know what is Amazon Incognito. And let me tell you a bit about this. Basically, Amazon Cognito is a service offered by the AWS, which we can use to manage our users sign up and sign in. So right now we do not have anything like sign up or sign in functionality on our website muhayyuddin.com. So this is a waste for us. And this authenticate only works guys if you have HTTPS protocol listener, which in our case we do have. So now guys, in the last, let me just show you the how we can redirect from HTTP to HTTPS, and in that scenario you will understand this redirect record better guys. So now let me just go back here, go to my demo ALB. Okay, so this is our HTTP listener. Now let me just go to here, manage, edit this listener. And here you can see guys, what am I going to select is this, that if someone accesses my server on the HTTP, right now guys you can see if I type muhayyuddin.com HTTP, my website is being opened and the connection is not secure. Now let's set up a redirect guys. So instead of forwarding the traffic to my demo group, I would say remove. On action, I would say I do not want to forward, I do not want to return a fixed response, instead redirect. Now redirect where guys? To HTTPS. And obviously the HTTPS protocol works on the 443 port. Okay guys. And here we have two options: original host path query or custom host path query. So basically guys, what that actually means is this guys, that if someone accesses my website on muhyiddin.com, that should we retain that muhyiddin.com in the request, or should we replace it with something else? So here I say no, you should retain that. Okay, you must not redirect to another website. Like this should not happen, that if someone types http muhyiddin.com, then you should not redirect him to https demo.muhyiddin.com. Okay, this is not what we want. What we want is someone types http.muhyiddin.com, then you should redirect him to https muhyiddin.com. And even if someone types /users, you should retain that. Okay, /users, only the https would be replaced with the https, nothing else in the URL will change guys. Okay, so this is what we will get if we select this option, and that's what we want guys. Okay, and if I click here on full URL, you can see guys, what is this host? Host basically means the domain name, which is muhyiddin.com, demo.muhyiddin.com /path. As I have explained to you earlier, anything that comes after the domain name. For example, muhyiddin.com /users /hello. So this is the path guys, all the way from /users to hello. This is the path guys. Okay. So we want to retain that path as well. And the query, as I explained you earlier guys, you can see anything that comes after the question mark. Okay, this question mark is the query. So we want to retain everything, just replace HTTP with the HTTPS. And what is this status code guys? For that you would have to watch my previous videos guys, or you can even Google it. It's a very simple concept. So the status code must be 301, which will actually tell the Google crawlers, hi, this HTTP has been permanently moved to HTTPS. So this is very important guys when you want to set up redirects for SEO purposes. Now let me click on save changes. Okay guys, it says successfully modified listener. So now let's see guys what happens if I type http muhyiddin.com. Let's see if our request redirects to the HTTPS or not. So here you can see guys, I typed HTTP and our request has been successfully redirected to the HTTPS. And for a proof guys, let me show you one more thing in the network. Now let me again type muhyiddin.com. And here you can see guys, when I typed muhyiddin.com with the HTTP, so first of all, the request went to the HTTP protocol and our load balancer responded with a 301 status code and redirected us to the HTTPS version, which is this version guys. Okay, so and by default, you know guys, on this version, what is the default rule we have here on the HTTPS? So basically guys, this is the rule we have, that if someone like me, if someone accesses my server with this IP address, then you should return him a fixed response, hello Muhyiddin. So that's why guys you are getting here hello Muhyiddin. So don't be confused with that guys. Okay. So I hope guys that now you understand everything about the application load balancer rules and how and why you should use each rule guys. Okay, so I hope guys this video was helpful for you, and if you have any questions then please comment down below, and if you like this video then please smash the like button guys and share this video with your friends, family members as well guys. So that's it guys, goodbye.